안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. Alright, coming at you today with something a little bit different, right? In the Blackpink song and video for Pink Venom, they featured this instrument. It's a traditional Korean instrument called the Gayageum, right? And I thought it might be cool just to maybe check out something that featured this in a more orthodox use, I guess is a good way to put it. And I think this will be pretty interesting, so let's check it out. Oh. Wow. Wow. Hold on. Let's go back. Real quick. Okay. Wow. So. Okay, so obviously it's sort of a folk styling of music. I was trying to read along. At the bottom, it had a little bit of information about the performance here. Namdo Minyo is, I guess, what they call this style or classification of performance. And this, I believe, Saetaryeong is the what the song is called. It's the name. And so the let's see, Gayageum, Byeongchang. So it's playing the instrument to accompany your vocal performance. At least I think that's what it said. And it also said that this song is kind of telling a story about people's lives by relating them to birds, perhaps the songs of birds. So when I talk about Western tonal harmony, all I'm really mean by that is that there's an emphasis on what they call a tonal center, or this is what we call like the one chord, right? You're gonna go from the 1 to the 4 to the 5 to the 1, or whatever the it is compositionally, right? So outside of that, what you have is something that is characteristically called atonality, or without an emphasis on a tonal center, right? Something that is more characteristic of definitely Eastern styles of music. Some styles of music are completely atonal, although that's not what I'm getting out of this. I guess the way that a bird has a particular call, so that's how you get to know the sound of the bird, like you can identify the species of a bird if you can remember what the sound that they make is. So listening to this piece, there's definitely like certain you could call them motifs. I mean, you could call them perhaps informed by an idea like a bird's call, and they will come back to that same sound. So I wouldn't call it completely atonal, but still it doesn't have the emphasis on the tonal center by having a progression that leads off to another sound and then has to work its way back in the same manner. Very, very interesting technique as far as how they play this instrument. I studied classical guitar in college, so you know, I see what they're doing, and it's very specific to this instrument. Now, I believe I may have seen, in certain instances, like in the Blackpink video, I'm not sure, but I think that there's something. And okay, so if it was a guitar, you could play either with finger strokes, right? Or in some cases, you could use a pick or a plectrum, right? So perhaps there's something equivalent to that, because I think I remember seeing that in the video. I think I've seen that elsewhere, but it doesn't look at all like a guitar pick. It looks like something else, almost like a knitting needle or something. Also, their hand placement when they were producing those strokes on these strings was yeah, very unique and very specific technically to how you perform this instrument. What do we, I think it was 5, correct? Well, we'll see in a minute here. And then also the drum, the one sort of bass drum instrument that was being played there. Now I was trying to count along, and it seems to me, it feels like the count is in 6, although it's not really like a triplet. You know, it doesn't have that da 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 da. It's pretty much a straight. When I hear the drum strike, I'm counting that as the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, something along the lines of that. Very interesting vocal technique. Also, the type of vibrato, very strong, like, you know, not light, short, sort of fast vibrato, but like very deliberate, very almost reminds me a little bit of like Native American song sounds when you hear it sung, but very interesting. And then as soon as they start to harmonize together, also a lot of those upward inflections, right, characteristic of bird songs or bird calls. Also very, very beautiful scenery as well. This is amazing. This is one of the things, you know, seeing this and hearing this, I definitely see how it informs even a lot of the contemporary sort of K-pop music. There's a lot in there, man. From the anachronisms, look at this image right here. This is a very traditional style architecture right here in this building, right? This rooftop, the colors, all this. And in the background, what do you see? Very modern, contemporary style, urban architecture, right? So what we have is an anachronistic composition in this image even itself. Something that is from the past is in the foreground, and something that is from the present is in the far background. It's very interesting, very interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1. Sounding like 4 to come in. 2. That technique right there. Wow, look. Okay, if I compare this to a guitar, this is going to be the bridge right here, and so the neck goes this way. It's a little, well, no, that's right, left hand if you are right-handed, anyhow, but like this instead. Now, generally speaking, when it comes to instruments, the bigger something is, the more the lower the sound that it's going to produce. It's going to have more bass in it, right? The smaller something is, the more the higher the pitch that it produces is going to be. So I'm guessing that a lot of these little small wooden these are like frets, I guess, on a guitar, as is what I would assume, right? Based on their positioning across the body of this instrument, is going to make a different produce a different pitch on each one of these strings. And she's effectively producing a sort of a tremolo or a type of effect by manipulating the strings on the other side of that fret, and I'm guessing you can probably influence the pitch as well depending on where you place your left hand. 2, 3, 4, 1. Listen to the drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Intangible cultural heritage. Wow. Very nice technique. Very cool. Wow. Even though I don't play the instrument, that's impressive. Like, she's kind of going off on this. It's really cool. Okay. Here we go. So we just had a change up. We just went from like a 4 count into, I think this is the 6 count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very, very nice. Oh man. What control. Low registers. What great time. So colorful, so colorful, from a lot of low register and then to quickly sort of slide up into these, right, like it's they're not just jumping up higher, they're doing like it's scooping all the way up there. Wow, this is so fun, isn't it? It's not that far removed, you know what I mean, from think of a 5-piece sort of girl group, you know what I mean? Like, it's not totally that different. Also, this traditional dress here, you know what this reminds me of? I saw many groups would be around the autumn festival time where they were posting some things on like Instagram and such. I know like ITZY did it for sure. I think I saw a couple of other groups. They were wearing clothes very similar to these traditional style dresses here. Notice there's a color arrangement to this also. Just like in many of the K-pop groups, you'll have colors associated to certain members, and as even this the man on the drum over here. Very interesting. Wow, there's some very good time and control that's being demonstrated here in their harmonization. They're not so spread out like you might find in for example something that has a little bit more tonality to it, where you might have voices in different registers. They sound very to my ear anyway, they're sounding very close to each other in pitch, more like in unison, as if they're trying to hit the same notes, as opposed to one voice perhaps singing like a bass part and then a tenor part and then an alto and then a soprano part. They tend to move together on the vertical. When they're low, and then when it's time to go up, they all go up together. But it's a very unique, very nice texture and color to this sound. Yeah, a singer sings while accompanying oneself on the Gayageum. So I hear him also doing his whenever they get done with that sort of little slide up on those parts. You can hear him occasionally coming in with these sort of just little short staccato type of calls. Also, I noticed that this drum instrument right here produces different sounds. So it looks like it has kind of a brim. In other words, there's a cylinder type of shape in the center here. You can see it's slightly raised, and when you hit over that, it's going to make a deeper sound. But I think if you hit it more towards this brim or like the rim, you might get a lighter, more shallow kind of brittle sound, like almost like a block, or just hitting something thinner. You're not going to get all the same sort of percussive depth as far as hitting when you actually activate the space inside of this the drum that this cylinder here makes. I wonder what type of wood these instruments are made out of, and what is this canvas or what material is this? You know, it's used as effectively the skin on this drum. Very interesting, very cool. Another change. So another change, they picked up the tempo in that last section. What great time. What excellent control. They started off in 4 as sort of like the intro, I guess you could call it, right? The main rhythm was going to be in a 6 count for most of that, and then that last section, they picked up the tempo. It got faster. Wow, what a fascinating technique. It's really just it's a beautiful folk style performance with a great texture and such color. To have a vocal group that seems to sing in unison, the way they move, and you have it's minimalist, of course, but that's because of its traditional characteristic, right? There's only so much that you have, right? So this you have the percussive element. This instrument also, much like a guitar, you could make an argument that they are also percussive instruments. You could say the same thing for a piano as well, because you have to strike the string on the instrument in order to get the sound. And I don't know enough about the instrument. I don't know enough about the technique, but it seems as though when the left hand playing manipulates the string, you're able to get more sustain on the sound. In other words, I think if you pluck the string, it's going to last for so long. That pitch is going to have a certain duration. But if you start to manipulate it with the left hand, I get the impression that it can sustain the note for longer. But without being familiar with the instrument or experience with it at all. That's just an impression that I get. But what a fascinating type of performance as well. Just everything about it. What is this scenery too? Like, this is incredible. I mean, I hope, hopefully this doesn't get blocked or anything. We don't have any issues. This is very cool. Of course, I'm gonna credit it and all of that. Fingers crossed that this doesn't get taken down, because this is quite fascinating. This is a very beautiful folk performance and style too. Great scenery. I intuit much of this actually in a lot of the contemporary sort of K-pop music. I think there are a lot of aspects, sounds, rhythmically and visually as well. There were sunflowers. There were so many things that I've seen also incorporated into the music videos and the other aesthetics of the contemporary K-pop music. This was actually really, really cool, man. Really cool. Yeah. Okay. So, Gayageum, Byeongchang, Namdo, Minyo, Saetaryeong. I would be really interested in seeing the translation of the lyrics on it too. I got the description of what the song was about, but it would be interesting to know exactly what it is being said, where the intonation slides up to those higher pitches, what's being said there, wow, it's really, really awesome. Really cool stuff, man. Really cool. So what a great technique on this instrument as well. This is fascinating. This is I would love to see more of this type of performance. This is very interesting to hear a sort of outside of that tonal harmony that is Western in its origin. It's very, very smart. This is very clever. This is one of the things, this comes from a history. Like, this is fairly complicated for something that probably goes back farther than Western tonal harmony. I mean, it's quite possible, what an interesting and fascinating experience. Very cool stuff, man. Very cool stuff. All right. Well, if this doesn't get us into any trouble here on the channel, if it doesn't get blocked or anything, maybe we'll be able to come back and do something like this again. I'm up for it, for certain. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you never heard something quite like this before, maybe you also see like some of the things I'm talking about, where I definitely see how this it doesn't permeate contemporary K-pop music, but there are some things that are in there still, man. That's what it seems like to me anyways. But yeah, very cool. All right. Yeah, that was fun. It was a really fun performance, man. So yeah, I just want to know what the song's about, and hopefully we can check out more. So alrighty. Thank you for checking this one out with me. 안녕히 계세요.